All right, so let's get rolling here. Before we start into our presentation, I want you guys to be aware of something. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so we're going to get into that in just a second, but I wanted to go over here. If you go to KW Connect, I'm like on a Zoom-a-thon here, so I don't know who I've told this to already or not, but if I have not already shared this with you, let me do this. Okay, if you go to KW Connect, the front page. Hold on. Right up at the top, it says Shift Ahead. Right, so click on there, and it'll take you to this page. You can see that they're having right now. Well, I guess tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's March 24th. Yeah, tomorrow at 10 a.m., which I think is Central Time. They're having exactly what we're teaching today. So if you didn't like how we taught it, there's another chance that you'll like it even better. The Shift Book Club and Tactic #1, Mindset in Action. My point is being they have this whole section on their website for everything related to Shift. There's all these videos that are happening, taught by these are top rock star agents from around the country, all sorts of stuff. There's a Shift Book Club that's there as well. I believe that the Young Persons of Keller Williams is also teaching a Shift Book Club. But just however you access it, just jump into Shift, find a friend, get a copy of the book, read it together, whatever. Just somehow, some way, learn Shift because, you know, we have two, like Gary said last Monday, we have two issues we're working on right now. There's the health issue. There's this medical emergency that's going on that not a whole lot we can do there other than take care of ourselves and stay healthy by following instructions, all that kind of good stuff, helping people around us. At some point, today, tomorrow, a month from now, at some point that's going to get resolved, or we're going to get to the other side of that. At some point, we're going to need to get back into the business of buying and selling houses. And when we do, we're going to find, I'm pretty quite sure that that market has shifted, right? And you can either wait till that time to start shifting your business and getting gear, in which case you'll probably be too late, or you can start right now, this minute, which is where we're at today. And I'm so glad you guys are here because we're talking about the shift. I've been on like several calls today with other like coaching people all around the country, and they're just like, yes, just tell everybody shift right now. So whether you get it from Joey and I and join our classes 4 o'clock in the afternoons, or if you want to join the KWRI or the Young People's Group, or just get a copy of the book and read it, share about it with a friend, whatever you want to do, just please, please, please. The market is shifting and you need to shift quickly. Like, as a coach, I'm usually pretty laid back about timelines and that kind of stuff, but this is one time telling you, like, read this like now, like right now. Okay, so without further ado, let me do this. Let me open up the presentation part of Shift. By the way, let me ask you this. As a show of hands, if I can find my cursor. Where's my cursor? There you guys all are. By show of hands, who's read Shift book or have any guys read it before? Well, good. Well, we're all going to hit it together. All right. All right. I will tell you a little something that when I started in the market in 2010, and the old timers are like, oh, you poor thing getting started. It's such a horrible time to start real estate. You should have been here 2005, 2006. It was the golden years and everyone was making money, but you know, no one's making money anymore. So I'm going on vacation. I'll see you in 6 months. Good luck to you. And the reality, and so that's like, you know, I was like, wow. The reality is that not only is the market shifting, the market amongst real estate agents is also going to shift drastically over the next 6 months. If for a lot of bigger agents who are used to having a business just dialed in, many of them will not pivot fast enough, and they're going to be at a disadvantage by having lots of overhead and lots of staff, and they're going to be quick to realize that they need to make more drastic changes quicker. What I'm getting at is that if you're quick and you're nimble, you can actually take advantage of this market right now and come out the other side in a better position than you are in right now. And I promise you, because I tell you from somebody who started at the bottom of the last shift, that, you know, everyone was like, oh, poor you. And then, you know, I passed most of those people up. And within 3 years, I was top 5% on market. I was the top agent in my market center. And I was like, you know, the same people were saying poor you were like, oh my God, how did you get 12 listings? You know, stuff like that. So the material is there. The medical side of things, as Gary said last week, is new. There's not a whole lot that's unprecedented, but the business side of things, there's a whole lot of precedent for this. We know how to deal with a shifted market, and we have a whole book written just about that. And if you do things correctly and you're quick and now is not a time to, you know, if you can work hard and not necessarily working a whole lot more hours, but just work smarter and more focused, I promise you can get out to the other side of when this all turns around, and it will at some point. You can come out with the other side in a much better position than you were in starting out. Okay, so there's my little.
I have a little thing too. So, you know, there are some examples of what you're talking about in the market center. Most of our top agents built their businesses in the down market. Even agents who had somewhat established businesses at that point in 2008, 2009, there was a choice. If your choice was to do business as usual or to just hold your breath through it, there's a high possibility that you will not survive it, right? But the agents who were active in engaging in having a business that was life enough to conform or to conform to the opportunity of the day, which in that particular case was short sales and REOs, were able to build their businesses. And as the business came back up, as the curve started to kind of accelerate up, they were positioned in such a powerful way to be successful. They had their businesses running really lean financially. They were aggressively going after business and lead generating in a systematic way. They had the habits that would propel them to success as the market kind of just expanded and blew up, right? And all of our top agents, they started in that they were not top agents in 2008. Is what I have to say about it. So it's an interesting opportunity. You'll have some older agents who are not able to evolve, right? And they're going to get stuck, and their businesses are going to get stuck. What the advantage Ed had was that he was coming into the market with no preconceptions and was looking for the opportunities in that moment, and knew that he had to run his business lean to stay in business. So they were just the elements of that particular market that he was working in, but are great. I think the shift is a really great model for any market. It's how you should be running your business across the board. So there goes my little piece. So let's get started.
Let's jump in here. So I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint here that corresponds to shift. Say this. Okay, hold on. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm getting a little situating myself. So I guess if I play this, it's full screen. maybe I should do it this way. Are you guys seeing the buttons up at the top? Does it matter? Can you guys see the screen okay?
Yep.
The PowerPoint slide?
Works for me.
Yeah, I
Okay,
see
great.
it.
Okay, great. So here we are, gaining mind over market, becoming an opportunity warrior. Oh, it won't let me do that. Okay. All right. Main ideas. We're going to talk about perspective on the market, an opportunity mindset, mastering your skills, installing key systems, and getting in the game. Perspective. Okay, perspective on the market. So how's your market? People always need to buy or sell. Markets always shift over time. They have a cyclical nature. Change equals opportunity. So let me go back here to the okay. Here's I'll read a little bit from the manual that we have. By the way, I forgot to mention too that we're working from the shift class today. There's a shift class that corresponds to the book. So if you guys ever want to, you can read along or follow along. There's a student or instructor manual available through KW Connect. If you go to resources and then KWU, you can find them all there. Okay, so I'm reading here from. Okay, so Gary writes, the real estate market is always shifting. It's a cyclical business. What goes up must come down. The amount of adjustment is variable depending on the local market. In the shift that began in late 2006, a stable economy of low unemployment and low inflation, along with ample funding and low interest rates, led to a record number of new home buyers entering the market. In many parts of the nation, the inventories of homes on the market increased and homes remained on the market longer. A shifted market may seem difficult, especially if you've never been through one before. But as Albert Einstein says, in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. In this course, you have the opportunity to find a silver lining to potentially dark clouds. Let's hear how top agents survived the shift that began in late 2006. They've got a couple of quotes here. Yeah, I'll read these quotes. So Martin Boma is a top agent who thrives in tough markets. He operated in the challenging economy of Ann Arbor, Michigan, which was down 15 to 20% overall, with certain areas at a 30% decrease in value compared to the previous year. Yet his earned commission income, his GCI, went up 15%. Martin admits after 22 years in the business, shifted markets are an amazing and exciting type of opportunity. Tony Carnesia from Denver, Colorado, had been in the market shift that began in 2001 and says his business was the best it had been in 15 years. He says he just found ways to get it done. Why was a shifted market so great for those agents? It's no coincidence that the agents in these examples all had 15 plus years in the business. They've seen other conditions and have learned how to respond intelligently and not panic. To them, everything old is new again. They've got a mindset of opportunity. They've returned to the basics of sales, which, by the way, is going to be a theme we're going to talk a lot about, is getting back to basics. They are masters at communicating, and guess what? They held their business together and even continue to grow. The good news is you don't have to be a veteran to take advantage of a shift. And here's a quote from Gary: when the market has shifted, the market is tough. The opportunity is still awesome. Okay. The law of supply and demand. To understand the differences between a seller's market, a buyer's market, and a transitional or neutral market is to understand the universally recognized law of supply and demand. The law of supply and demand determines market prices and the way in which these prices help shape economic decisions. This law cannot be broken. A seller's market is a market which has more buyers than sellers. High prices result from this excess of demand over supply, right? We know this market well. We've been in one for the last, really since, I mean, I don't know about here in LA, because I moved here since that started, but we, in the East Coast, we hit this bottom at about middle of 2011. I imagine it's probably very similar here. Buyer's market, on the other hand, one we have not seen in a while, a market which has more sellers than buyers. High prices result from this excess supply over demand. By the way, I'm not saying that that the market has suddenly shifted overnight. I would say I haven't looked at the stats close enough to know that the market was already starting to shift in places before a couple weeks ago. But are we, is Hollywood, is Silver Lake all of a sudden in a strong buyer's market? I wouldn't go so far to say that. I would say it's likely that we're shifting in that direction. So very likely, my advice would be act as if, well, not to act as if, but be prepared in your business as if any of your clients ask you, you answer it intelligently based on current stats and figures, which is something we'll be talking a lot about. But be prepared as if we're going into a buyer's market. Joe, you want to add anything to that? Okay, moving on. Determining a buyer's market versus a seller's market. Let me see if we got a slide on this. One of the simplest ways, if you're looking at your stats, to look at whether you're in a buyer's market or seller's market, one of the quickest ways is looking at months of inventory, MOI, sometimes referred to.
Sorry.
Sometimes you see it as absorption rate. MOI is if you're talking to someone across the country and you guys want to get a quick take on how each other's market is, the first thing you'd ask each other is how many months of inventory you guys running. And the way to measure that, and this is a national average. We're a little different in LA, and we'll get to that. A balanced market is typically talked about as being 6 months of inventory, sometimes a little less, 5 months of inventory, sometimes a little more at 7. A seller's market is typically when you've got less than 5 months inventory. And the further lower that number goes, the more of a seller's market you're in. The higher that number, when you go above 6 months of inventory, 7, 8, whatever, it's a buyer's market. The higher you go above that, the more into a buyer's market you get. Bear with me, my voice is starting to get cracky out of my after this Zoom-a-thon.
And sorry about that, Eb. I was on mute. I didn't realize it.
Oh,
so prior to this moment, this coronavirus kind of shutdown, we were on trend to continue to be in a seller's market. The lack of inventory was keeping us, keeping the prices going up and keeping the buyer pool anxious and getting the sellers the best price possible. I don't know what effect this will have. My sense is that unless after this is over and the sellers, like a mass of sellers come off the bench, that it's going to continue to be a seller's market, because there's so much pent up desire for the buyers pool, the buyer pools right now, especially in a certain price point, that it probably will continue as such.
That's great. And by the way, if you guys are ever on the 9 a.m. calls, I'm going to start diving into stats a little bit each day. Not a ton, but maybe for like 5 minutes, just kind of pick a neighborhood, and we're going to look at some stats on that neighborhood. And then you guys, by doing so, be able to see how we do that and transfer it to your whatever neighborhood you're following. So another reason to join us at 9 a.m. if you ever need a little pick-me-up. Here's adding to what Joey said. One thing I do know about, like if you look in the Hollywood Hills, some of the higher price points, over $3 million, that kind of price point, single family homes, inventory was already starting to accumulate, and we were already beyond, we were averaging, I think if you look in the last couple of months, about 8 or 9 months of inventory. So it's already trending towards the buyer's market in there. But if you look at West Adams, Silver Lake, Los Feliz, I think they're still probably to this, we've had agents having over 20 offers on their property in the last week.
Absolutely.
And I don't know,
Absolutely.
that may continue right through coronavirus. I don't even know. But all I know is we do want to pay attention to it more often than not, because it's definitely possible of changing more quickly than ever. Okay.
So on the MLS, we should pay attention to days on market.
No, days on market is not the determiner. It's sell-through rate is what we're looking at. So when you say a balanced market is 5 let's say 6 months of inventory. That's saying if no other inventory came on the market today, how long would it take us to sell everything on the market at the rate that things are selling now?
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's the way. Days on market is another determination, but not pertaining to a seller's market and buyer's market.
Months of inventory is easily seen via, if you go to the homepage of your MLS and you click on 10K info sparks. If you log on, if you're on the call tomorrow at 9 a.m. and I'll try to record it maybe. Let's move on. I don't want to get too hung up. We have a lot of material and I want to make sure we start on time and end on time, but we'll cover that as to where to find that information at another time. Okay, we're talking about some other factors that of what causes stuff to go up and down, right? We're talking about seller's market versus buyer's market. The affordability index is a measure of financial ability to buy. It's an index of 100. 100 equals a median income family can afford the median price of a home. The higher the index goes over 100, the greater the affordability. The lower, we're picking up a lot of noise from somebody. I
don't want to mention Joey's name.
Yeah, Joey. We don't want to say Joey, but Joey.
I don't think so. There's the girls are all in their rooms.
Every time you move.
You want to move a little more?
Every time you move.
No, look at him. He's in a forest with some frogs.
I have earbuds. It's probably like my ears are making sounds.
It's Joey Sacavitch.
Strong mic or something. Your mic is really strong.
Who knows what's happening?
Anyways, okay, so the affordability obviously has a big effect on that. We can quantify that with a number. Like here's what they're saying here. If you took a median income of $69,000 for a neighborhood, and the median price of that home is $182, the mortgage amount with 20% down comes to $146. The required income would be $36,500. The affordability income is that $69,300. divided by that 36.5 equals 190, right? So three ways to close the affordability gap to make homes more affordable. Lower home prices, right? That obviously. Increased borrowing power in the form of lower interest rates or more different options for mortgages, or increasing people's income obviously makes homes more affordable. Question for you guys: which of these factors can agents control? None of them. None. Trick question. And agents can't control any of these factors, right? We can't control lowering home prices. We can't affect borrowing power or increasing income, right? So we don't control the market. We analyze. We communicate about the market that we are seeing, and sometimes based on trends, we can say we're heading in this direction. I would be very careful, by the way, when people ask you, what do you think home prices are going to do 6 months from now? You know, that's one place where I would not feel comfortable putting my foot in that, dipping my toe in that water, because who the hell knows, man? There are people who make a lot more money than me, who are a lot smarter than me, whose entire purpose in life is to try to figure that out. And apparently none of them can make up their mind on that right now. So all I can tell you is, like, here's where we are right now. Here is the trend that we're heading in. I can tell you probably I don't see this changing in the next month. Beyond that, I don't know. And that's what I would say. I'm not saying you should say that, but that's what I would say. I would also say, hey, look, here's another thing that I know too. If you had bought at the top of the market in 2005 or whatever it was, 2006, before shit hit the fan, and yes, your home you'd bought and you're like, oh no, my home went down 30%, whatever. A couple years later, you're back up to where you started. No one cares. And that time you've already paid off your loan by 6 years and you haven't been paying rent. Instead, you're paying off your mortgage. So you have a whole lot less mortgage. So, you know, the old rule of thumb, if you're going to stay somewhere for more than 5 years, you're probably better off buying. Is still probably going to take, will still probably be in effect even in this market that we're in right now that's shifting. Okay. Some other, what else impacts affordability and availability at the global level? Economic growth, inflation, interest rates. At the city level, the population, right? People moving in and out of a town can have an effect. Employment, right? When I was in Charleston, part of why we picked Charleston is Boeing was moving into town. They created 20,000 jobs. Housing market boomed. It was awesome. Household income, right? If the job market changes as a result of a big company coming in, like sometimes tech companies can have a big impact. In neighborhood, right? We can have effects based on neighborhood dynamics, property conditions, right? If you look at Inglewood and the stadium coming in, look at what impact that
Changed
had.
everything. Yeah.
Night and day. So just so you can kind of get an idea of what changes these things. So what's your affordability index? So we could kind of, you guys want to try to calculate it real quick? What do we figure is the average income in LA? In let's say in our zip code 90004, right? Anyone want to take a guess?
I'd say 200,000 average. In 9004, there's a lot of high worth individuals.
So 200K average income we figure. And what's the home price? Was it 1.1? Is that
median?
Yeah.
Median home price is around 1.2, I think, in our area.
Let's see if we can figure this out really quick. Median income is where's my phone? I can't add 1 + 1 without my phone anymore.
Oh please, I'm like.
Oh no, Star's texting me that she can't get in. Okay, so let me do this.
I'll send Star. I'll send Star.
Perfect. Yes, somebody please send Star the invite. Okay, so median income, we're at 200,000. Median home price is 1.2. The mortgage amount, let's say 1.2 times 80%. If someone could also send it to Lena, that would also be great. Lena.
I thought Lena was on. She said she had it.
Lena's on.
Yeah,
I'll
Lena's
send
on.
it to her.
Lena's on. You have Star
I'll send
covered?
it to her. Do you want me to do Star? I'll do Star so
send
it's
Star
not
too.
interrupted.
Yep.
I'm just calculating. So 1.2 less 20% down is 960,000. 25% of that is 240,000. So 200,000 divided by 240,000, if I'm following this formula, is 0.8. Clearly much less affordable than the affordability index of, I'm sorry, 0.8 times 100. Our affordability index using these numbers comes out to about 83, much less than the 190 for this sample place right here. Okay, so what are buyers and sellers thinking? Buyers' beliefs. Values may continue to go down. Like if we start to see home prices come down, buyers may be hesitant, thinking that values may continue to go down. Therefore, they think they have plenty of time to look and buy. The seller will take almost, oh my God, I'm having flashbacks. Oh, well, we can offer just about any number because the seller will take almost any offer right now. We can just hang out and wait because we're waiting for more homes to come on the market. We may not be able to even get a loan because things are so crazy right now. And they may also think it's a great time to invest in real estate. Those are their beliefs, right? I don't know why it's I would have thought this would be at the top. This is about 3 ways of approaching coming to class in all right, we're going to skip that. Okay, opportunity mindset. Okay, 6 truths about market from when market shifts by Gary Keller. So this is he was based on a paper written right after 9/11 happened. The guidance on this is still relative in today's environment. And by the way, this was written some years back, and it's still going from Gary's call on Monday. He said he and Jay Papasan went through there and was like, do we need to update and change any of the, and they're like, no. I mean, other than the fact that we're dealing with a medical thing that we cannot control, and that's something separate, and that comes first. But as far as the economic part, the market part, the rules all still apply. Time to get in an opportunity mindset. Markets shift. It's a way of life. Markets are always in transition. The myth is that the market determines your success. Ooh, it's a great time to be in the market. Ooh, it's a bad time to be in the market. People buy and sell in all markets. By the way, a little aside here. I'll tell you a little footnote. We had some family issues. I had to leave my business, which was booming in Charleston, and move back to LA. And we did so in 2016, and I had a hell of a time getting started in the South Bay. Here I was crushing it in Charleston, South Carolina. I moved to the South Bay, and it's such a hot market, saturated with real estate agents. It was much harder to get started here than it was in Charleston. Anyways, down markets tend to have fewer great deals, and those that are sell faster. Okay. Up markets, proactive and reactive, lead generation. Oh, so when the market is up, you can be proactive or reactive about your lead generation. But when the market is shifting downward, which we may be facing right now, we should be more prospecting based. And the way I've always heard it explained is be more prospecting based and marketing enhanced as opposed to the other way around.
Which should always be the case. You should always be, especially in our market, being prospecting based and marketing enhanced is really the way to, it's the habit that will grow your business in the most effective way. Yeah. Because you're building the relationships and then you're using marketing to sustain the relationships.
Absolutely. Market shift means new strategies are required. We have to adopt an opportunity mindset. Seek only motivated buyers and sellers. Oh my God, yes, yes. So, well, we'll be getting more into this over the weeks. I don't want to stop with stories about every point. You want to price ahead of the market. When the market is going up, agents look much smarter than they are sometimes, because if prices are going up, you can't really overprice them. It's hard to overprice a listing because you just leave it on the market long enough and prices will eventually catch up. And at some point you'll be accurately priced.
Right.
In down markets, you can get into a lot of trouble if you do not market correctly right from the get-go on price. Make condition of listings stand out, right? It's more important now. Motivate buyers with sense of urgency. Qualify and convert leads quickly.
And guys, these are great habits to do in any market. The people who were staging their property, getting a listing, staging it properly, marketing it properly, pricing it properly, we're getting the best results. That is a bar that you do not want to go lower than. There should not be a change in your shifting market. It's just saying that, to me, in a shifting market, it just becomes more the deficiencies or the lack of effort in your listing shows up more, and the results are more dramatic because the market is putting downward pressure on your listing. Okay, so this should be the standard of doing business always. You should always have it looking the best it can be. You should always get it out to the market in the most in the most aggressive way, and you should have it priced so that it's compelling to the market to respond in any market. It's just in a downward facing market, you're going to get even worse results, and the results are going to be more dramatic. There's no wiggle room. There's no room for imperfection.
Love it. The rest of these, I'm just going to read these out because I realize that these all are corresponding to the 12 strategies that we're going to be talking about over the next 12 weeks. So the other ones here are catch and convert leads on the web, bulletproof your transactions all the way to closing, big one right now. Find out where the market is and get in it. Do more with less. Go over your expenses, your services, your people. Now is a great time to be going through all your expenses and finding waste and cutting it out. Time to trim. Learn alternative financing options. The theory of equilibrium. Seller's market equals agent count. The next part Gary talks about in the book is that the theory of equilibrium means that in a seller's market, the agent count increases. In the book, he talks about the agent count will end up matching the total potential income potential for that market in that area. So when it becomes a seller's market, there's more volume, prices are going up. Therefore, agent count, it's by the perceived value that there is. So when a seller's market, the agent count increases. More people come in the industry, more people join in and say, oh my God, this looks great. So many people are making money. In a buyer's market, the agent count decreases. If things continue to shift as they look like it's likely to happen, you will probably see some agents leave the market. But if you can stay ahead of it and you can keep an eye on your expenses and whatnot, you can take advantage when it turns around. Big opportunity for those with stamina, skill, and adapted, improved business practices.
So to that point, Ed, agents who were able to survive, they captured even more market share, right? Yeah. There was more for them, right? There was more opportunity for them. Even though there was less opportunity in the market itself, there was more individual success for those agents who were able to do the right thing in that market.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Love it. When markets shift downward, it's time the time to reach equilibrium is unknown. The myth is that, hey, let's just wait. God, I can't tell you how many people I saw when I first got to Keller Williams on the East Coast. We'll just wait it out. It's all going to be over soon. The truth is you need to face the market as it is in its current state and adapt as needed, which means greater commitment, greater consistency, reduced expenses. In a downshift, it's time for all hands on deck, which means more prospecting. Whatever you're used to doing for prospecting, you probably want to not overdo it so you burn out, but kind of push your red line, get more efficient, try to make more, as prospecting should be your number one priority, as it always is, but now more than ever. Work on converting appointments to appointments and contracts, cost control, negotiation, transaction bulletproofing, customer service. These are all things we're going to be talking about. Your role as opportunity warrior. So what we're going to be talking about as we go forward is we're going to have a plan and know what you should be doing at all times. Know your strengths, leverage them, and execute. And then delegate tasks that you do less well. So here's some affirmations for those opportunity warriors among us, for all of us, which should be. I'm an opportunist and this is an opportunity. I am a market maker and will create my own market in these conditions. Feel free to join in with me if you'd like. I am able, ready, and willing. I'm a knowledgeable real estate consultant. Are you guys going to leave me? I'll go solo.
Yeah, we got this, Ed. Wait.
I understand the big picture.
I understand the big picture.
Piper, I am a professional guiding clients through the process.
Yes, you are.
Sellers need me, Piper, more than ever to get a sale. Buyers need me
more than ever to get the best price.
Oh, kumbaya.
Yay! That's right. Yay!
Opportunity
That's right,
mindset.
Trace. Love it.
Hey, I am a big fan of affirmations, and I used to not be.
Yeah.
Anyways, opportunity mindset. Gain market share in a slowing market. This is kind of what Joey was talking about. So if you can, well, some of you are new, and don't worry about it. But for those of you who are used to doing a certain level of business, say you're used to doing 12 deals a year, right? That's what your best year in the last couple of years has been. If you can maintain your volume, if you can just still find a way to kick and scratch and claw out 12 transactions in the market as it changes, if the market is going down, those same 12 transactions continues to be a bigger part of the market because your market, like they show here in this diagram, if you're still doing that same amount of volume as that same amount of volume in a smaller market means that you're gaining market share, even though you're not really increasing the amount you're making, you're holding tight. Behind the scenes, what's not showing up, say last year you made 100,000, 150,000 in GCI. This year you do 150,000 GCI doing the same amount of volume. If there was a total, if the pie that is coming out of got much smaller, and when that market turns around, say in a particular neighborhood, last year you did 5%, this year you did 10%. It's still the same amount of volume. You still sold the same 5 houses, just far less homes sold. When this market turns around, you can hang on to that market share and it's yours to keep. And that's what they show here in this next slide. So say when the market grows, it's a lot easier to hang on to that market share on the flip side of it.
Do you guys get that? Do you guys get that whole concept? It's, so in this down market, I garnered 20 deals, right? Which is 5% of the market. If I maintain that 5, and that's 20 deals when in my market there were 100 deals done. All right, that's 20% of the market. So I have 20% of the market. If you maintain that 20%, when that market goes to 500 deals, then you're talking about you have 100 deals in your pipeline. Does that make sense? I love that whole concept of getting your unfair share, always looking to be getting your unfair share of opportunities.
Love that. Okay, we're going to talk about mastering your skills. So how do we do all of this? Well, we go back to basics. Assess your skills and look for ways to improve. Let me tell you something. There's a whole new shift coming out, Shift 2.0. I'm sorry, not Shift. Ignite 2.0 is being released. The difference is each module is going to be 1 hour. And by the way, if you go right now to KW Connect and you go to KWU, you'll see it in there. It says Ignite Beta. You can go in there. You can watch top agents from around the country teach all of those 20 sections right now if you wanted to. And Ignite is many times misinterpreted as being the new people's class. Ignite is a fundamentals class that is good for everybody. And now is a great time to kind of revamp and look at your skills. Okay, keep up on your education, talking about Ignite. Be a student of the market. Now more than ever, pay attention to what's going on with the trends and stats. Be a great communicator. Good time to learn some scripts regarding those stats, which some of those are on that KW Shift website. Lead generate 3 hours a day. I know that's a lot, but they're highly recommending it. Talk competently with sellers about pricing. Motivate buyers to buy. Convert leads to appointments. So mastering your skills. So assess your skills. Know your market. Prospect. Oh, wait, hold on. So this is so they're asking you, hold on. So there's an exercise here. So all of you, if you kind of want to think about it as we go through here, if someone was asking you and you were giving somebody an objective answer, what would they think of you as far as how well you know your market? And if you had to grade yourself on these skills, give yourself, and you don't have to share them with us, but how do you feel is your grade and how well you know your market? How well you prospect each day? Trying for new sources for leads. Knowing your scripts. Are there some, as the market changes, there's going to be a whole new different set of scripts that some of them are going to come into play again that we haven't seen for a while. Making offers to generate responses in your marketing material and in your prospecting conversations. Having a clear, concise, unique selling proposition that's going to make them choose you. As competitive as it was a month ago, if things it may get even a little more competitive. So stop and think what improvement would benefit you the most. Anybody want to chime in with an answer? Thinking about your own business? Any of these?
Well, I think I need a little bit of all of that, right? But yeah, being diligent about prospecting is probably what I need to do most, right?
Second that.
Yeah.
I could tell you from the people that I coach, I know many of them, I would say probably prospecting stands out to me as something that
Yeah.
I'll be working with them on, as well as in my own business.
Sure.
Also, by the way, the having a clear, concise, unique selling proposition, it's now more than ever. Why being able to convey why people should choose you, that's one I think stands out to me as well. So keep up with your education, be a lifelong learner, right? There's that part of KW and our 6 personal perspectives is commitment to mastery. Like if you take the top agents around the country, they're constantly in classes. That's why they go to family reunion and mega camp every year, and they're the ones who are in the one-on-ones and sitting up front and taking notes. They want to learn new stuff and continue to grow. Become a teacher, coach, or mentor. Can I tell you, as we teach this new round of Ignite, I would love to see some of you who are on the LCs, step up and as you guys are always so gracious to do, maybe pick a different module than you're used to. And now it's kind of, the modules are kind of all mixed up a little bit. So maybe it'll give you a chance to teach something that maybe you think you're not that as good at. Because I promise you, one thing I've learned as changing into this role of coach is that I've become so much better at the things just from having taught it, because it forces me, like, I'm not going to teach something if I don't know it well. So it forces me to learn a lot of the things I will then end up teaching. When you cut expenses, don't cut education. Use education to plug in and grow. Classes like this are a great way. When the market shifts, it's also very especially, my God, given the odd circumstances that we're in, it's very easy to start isolating and feel like your own little planet. Classes like this are yet another way of staying connected to not just our market and our agents, but also getting a sense of what's going on in the market just by being around everyone who's talking about what's going on in their business. Joe, you want to take this one?
Yep. Keep up with your education. That's where we are, right?
I see be a student of the market, right?
Yep. So get serious about your education and become, if you are not already, a lifelong learner. The value of education is exposure to new ideas and gaining new perspective. Plus, it's an environment to observe and practice skills. The best agents keep up with their education by attending training classes, masterminds, family reunion. They also teach each other, read, and hang around like-minded leaders or learners. If you are a leader of other agents, mentor them, and allow agents to shadow you. When you teach, coach, and mentor, you grow too, right? When you meet with people who achieve at a high level, you plug in and you receive a certain amount of the electricity they give off. So when you surround yourself, I think the expression is, you are the average of your 5 closest friends. You are the average of your 5 closest business associates. If you have to look at each of them and see who is pulling you up and who might be, a drag on your business. It works. So these people are engaged in the conversation at such a high level and on the daily that they're always looking for the best way to, or the rarefied way to run their business and to get the result that they're looking for. So here's an example here. It says Rebecca Rivers, top selling agent and partner with the successful Rivers team in Tallahassee, Florida. Gene Rivers, I think that's probably Gene Rivers' wife, closed more than 250 transactions in 2007, despite being in an extremely tough market. During her first power session of lead generation 36-12-3, introduction, The Power of One, she realized that she was the one who benefited the most from the class. She was re-energized and learned at least one new concept that she put into practice immediately. So from teaching the lead generation 36-12-3, she received the benefit of it. When you look at cutting your expenses, do not consider cutting education. Without education and inspiration, you may become stagnant in your business. Instead, get plugged into and grow from all the educational opportunities that are available to you. So, putting your money where your mouth is, what Keller Williams did, for all their MAPS coaches, usually cost $1,000 a month for a MAPS coach, right? They went in and they cut that in half. It's one of the first cost savings activities that they did, and they went in and they cut the cost of MAPS during this time by half, 50%. They underwrote it. Basically, Keller Williams International underwrote the MAPS coaching program for 50% of its earnings. Is what it came down to.
And I've heard they've got to set aside $20 million to cover that.
Yeah.
So a pretty big, they
however
believe in it.
long
They
that
want.
takes.
Yeah. Okay, mastering your skills. Be a student of the market. We talked a little bit about this. We're going to do this in the mornings at the 9 a.m. call. This is an everyday commitment. Data is your friend. Know where to find it. We're going to talk about that. Look at the easiest place is off of the main page off the MLS where it says 10K info sparks. Know both the national and local statistics. Use graphics to share what you know. That's something that Info Sparks does really well. Know the best buys. Here's one. Know the statuses of all the homes in proximity to your listings. So keep an eye on those. It's not just about knowing the market is going to probably slow down slightly, and you'll want to know what's going on with things nearby you.
So can I say something about this, Ed?
Sure.
The stats are incredibly, incredibly important. And that being said, most of your clients don't want to hear you recite stats, okay? But what it gives you is an underpinning, an understanding of the market so that you can focus your conversation with your clients in very, very specific ways. And so knowing the stats is really, really important. Also understanding the minutia of, if you're focused on a geographic area, you should understand some of the nuances of that particular area. And when I say that, I'll give you an example. Lisa Hutchins, the top agent in Hancock Park. She's third generation realtor in Hancock Park. She is, okay, how do I say this? She is not a great realtor, in my view, in the sense that she is serving her clients. Her magical power, she has a magical power that is unbeatable, right? And that is that she has an encyclopedic knowledge of every house in Hancock Park, who owned it, what the history is of it, who updated the bath, what owner updated the bathroom, what owner added on square footage. She is crazy, crazy knowledgeable about that. And so that knowledge supersedes, and her 3 generations of realtors in her family give her this gravitas that people are attracted to. That's her magical power. It works. That's the kind of stuff people want to hear. So
love it. Okay, we're coming up on time here before too long, so we'll
sorry,
bust
Ed.
through some of these. No, that's all right. More about mastering your skills. Be the media. Become a spokesperson, speaker, and resource. Great time to be writing articles. Great contents. Email, newsletter. People are going to be more receptive to it now more than ever, because they're going to be wondering what is going on. When their stock portfolio is getting bludgeoned, they're going to be hopeful that at least their home value is going to be retaining its value. So what are your market numbers? We won't go over this today, but be thinking about homes on the market, homes sold, homes pending, expired listings, days on the market, average list price, average sale price, and monitor those things because they're going to change more rapidly than they have over the last couple of years. Especially right now, don't be surprised if we see those go all over the place during this lockdown, and then it'll be interesting to see how much it bounces back when eventually we all get out of our houses again. Be a great communicator. Seek first to understand, ask, listen, and validate your understanding. Study and practice scripts now more than ever. Leverage script knowledge through conversational skills. Communicate with your clients faithfully, relieving their stress and yours. Relieving their stress, just be careful in that. Be honest. I like to think, there's a way of thinking in a more, they're worried about how's their home value doing right now, when you can, maybe give them more of a perspective of like, look, your home may be down 30% right now. If any other recession is a telling sign, your home will probably, it's California, you're in LA, very desirable. Your home value will probably bounce back. So as long as you're not selling, if things were to go down, you say, hey, you'll probably get back there before long. What I'm getting at is, I've seen people get themselves into trouble giving Pollyanna advice and notions that later may come back to bite them, right? It's better to just be straightforward. We're not twisting the knife and telling them, oh yeah, your home just lost a ton of value. We're being respectful and compassionate about it, and yet giving them honest information. More about being a great communicator, remessaging, evaluate every message you're putting out. And this is something Lena and I were talking about. Every message you're putting out, are your messages driving prospects to you? Be careful about your tone. You don't want to skip, anyways, you don't want to be insensitive to what some people are going through. For sellers, time to sell, percent of list price. Those are some stats they're going to want to know. For buyers, what are the best buys? Are there any foreclosures happening? Are there any free searches? That's a little outdated, but back in the day, that was a big deal. Use web domain names that attract an audience. Also a little bit outdated. Speak competently about pricing with sellers. Know the market facts. We've gone over this. Use the bottom line or net approach, right? Let them vent their emotions. Remain calm, right? Some people, some sellers, you may have, well, we're not there yet, but let's say if prices go down some, you may have some listing presentations. And when you give them what their home value is now, it won't be the same conversation you had when we were having 15% year over year appreciation rates.
Nope.
It's a lot different when they're realizing that if they had sold 6 months ago when they had first talked to you, they probably would have gotten 10% more or whatever. Those numbers suddenly become very real to them. Discuss financing options that might be offered to buyers. I'm sure as we go forward, I'm sure Andy will have tons of stuff for us that any programs that might be able to help our buyers out. Motivate buyers to buy. Make offers that generate immediate response. Understand and overcome fear with scripts. Yeah, there's some stuff there that they're, I remember like throughout 2010, everyone was like, why should I buy when prices are still going down? I'll wait till we hit the bottom, right? And the problem with that is it's hard to know when you've hit the bottom, anyways.
Well, when it hits the bottom, it's by the time you perceive that it hit the bottom, you've already lost the game. You've already lost the game. It's too late. You're the last one to know.
Yep. So educate them about opportunities. Again, lead generate 3 hours a day. I mean, we stress it all the time, but yeah, there it is. Installing key systems.
You guys, it's a little over, but let me just say this. I love the, where she put it in here. Yeah. So Susan Scott, who wrote Fierce Conversations, amazing book. You should read it if you can. But I don't know that this is correct, but the conversation is the relationship. I love that. all those conversations, lead generation conversations you have, they are relationship building conversations. And that's what this is all about, right? You are giving information to a friend. You're sharing your mastery of the market, of the buying and selling process. You want to be that for the people you care about. Treat everybody that way. Treat all your clients that way, in the same way, and interact with them and share that information in a authentic, passionate way. Sorry, Ed.
Love it. So let's wrap it up there. I mean, there was just a few more slides to hit. Let's do this. We'll finish up on this one here. Oops, hold on. Let me share screen.
This is a time for change. This is a time for those just building their businesses from scratch, to put all of the systems in place and to create great habits in your business, right? For those who have done some business or further along in their business, this is a time for you to retool, pull back and retool some of the items to be more effective and to create some more great habits in your business, right? And so it's about efficiency. We're going to be, oh gosh, wait till we get to the financial. I'm buying some time for you, Ed. Wait till we get to the wait till we get to the financial piece. It's about, running your business as stealthily as possible, but not in an anemic way, but spending money on the things that create the best return for you. And you should be focused on the spending money with the best return in mind. You should be focused on the relationships with the best return in mind. And you should be developing developing systems that support you in all of those ways.
Love it. So Gary Keller's bottom line here from this first module are: be an opportunity warrior, embrace the market. There's a challenge in front of you. As he says in the Shift book, which I love, is some people run from it and they get into fear, and some people embrace the challenge in front of it. Accept the law of supply and demand. Understand and use your local affordability index. Become the media. This is a great time for your clients to trust you as the trusted advisor on what's going on in the market. Master your skills: market knowledge, communication, lead generation, conversation, conversion. Evaluate yourself on all challenges and build your action plan now. And here's the suggested action plan. Don't put away this guide without developing a plan to put what you have learned into action. Refer to the action plan on pages 55 to 56 of your agent guide to assess your strengths and areas for improvement. They're talking about the PDF from the class. Write down steps you will take to improve your skills. Complete it, share it, commit to it. Share it with your coach if you have a coach. I'd love to see it.
Absolutely.
There you go, guys. That's round one. Let's open it up to see if anybody has any questions before we wrap it up for the day.
That was great, Ed. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And Joey.
Just
Sorry,
real quick, right, Ed? So this is the same login for every day. Is that correct?
Yes.
So everybody
Yes.
knows to save it so they don't get, right?
Yes, this doesn't change. The same way you got here, we'll
Okay.
get you here tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and we'll pick up with the tactic number 2 tomorrow. And there's 12 of them in total, so we'll get through here in 2.5 weeks.
Ed, I'm going to read this quote from Gary at the end of bottom line. It says, "Move fast and with confidence. There will be huge winners out of a shifted market. A shifted market provides your next ledge to gain a better foothold in your market. Make it happen." Bam.
Love it.
That's a drop the mic on him.
Drop the mic. Love that.
Any other
Great.
questions?
All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully some of you will see you tomorrow morning at 9 if you want a little help with mindset getting plugged in. And we'll pick up on shift tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.